Let me tell you something. I am going to bring you fabulous, fantastic flight experiences, and the YouTube viewers are going to pay for it. Someone once asked a question, and they said, hey, why is it that black men scream so loud? And then the other person answered, well, it's so you hear what I'm saying. And basically, I think it's so ironic that when I look back at the views that I'm getting, and I look at all these apocalypse videos that I've done, all of those are doing really well. They got like lots and lots of views, 3,000, 4,000, 10,000 in some cases, 20,000 for some of them. But meanwhile, I look back at my stock pick information, and like it's like nobody's paying attention. It's like I only see like 3,000 or 4,000 views. And the thing about it is, it's like I feel that it's like people, it's not that, I won't say that I'm being ignored. It's just that people just don't care about like information that's to some extent educational. Like, I don't understand that, because it's so funny that whenever I have a nice car or whatever, it's like people like ask me, they're like, oh, well, how'd you get that? And then when I start to explain it, they fucking stop listening to me. It's like, oh man, they start rolling their eyes. It's like all of a sudden they just want a quick fix. Like they want instantaneous money. It's like, you don't get money instantaneously. You got to work for this shit. And if you don't work for it, you at least have to have some kind of, not really, I won't say a talent, but you have to have some kind of outlook where, you can, do things like pay into the stock market and come out with a net positive. There's a lot of people who day trade, and these are people who, they're driving around in Aston Martins and shit, and they got nice cars and everything, but you don't know how they make their money. So you just assume, okay, well, they must be rich or inherited money. Thing about it is, right now is the time when there is so much opportunity to buy into the stock market. This stock market, up until coronavirus tore it apart, was too expensive and inflated for most people to afford to buy in. But now you're able to buy in to stocks that have had themselves hammered to shit, and you can get in. And right now, people are spending their money on bullshit. Because see, my thing is, like, I like to play it safe. Like, I like to put money in the savings accounts, right? And most people argue with you, be like, oh, well, you shouldn't put your money in a savings account. You're only going to get like 0% interest or 1% interest, or not even that. You're going to get 0.75% interest. And if you had just invested in some good stocks, you would have made gains. Yeah, they are absolutely right. If you know what stocks to invest in and you're able to know when to sell, yeah, absolutely, you'd make some good gains. The problem is you got to also know when to sell, and you also, there's some very, very simple rules. Number one, buy low, sell high. Number two, you buy on the rumor and you sell on the fact. And the third one, I don't remember what the third one was, but it'll come back to me and I'll remember it later. Okay. Well, Jim Cramer always said one of his rules was you never explain and you never complain, but that's not for a buyer. That's actually for someone who's actually who's explaining on like CSNBC or whatever. We watch those channels and stuff. And I really don't watch those guys, because the thing about it is, most of these guys, it's like they'll put you into a negative state of feeling where, like, you want to sell, but they'll be like, no, don't sell, don't panic. And meanwhile, every bone in your body's telling you to panic. So sometimes I listen to them, sometimes I don't. So anyway, instead of me rambling, which that's what I do, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my stock purchases that I made this morning, and some of the ones that I'm planning on making, because there are some people who do listen and they ask me, they're like, hey, could you give me some more stock advice? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'm doing this shit for free. It's like some people make you pay and buy books and read books and everything. I'm doing this for free. And the mere fact that I make money off of this, I must be doing something right. So anyway, as you can see today, the Dow is up slightly. So it went up from Dow 18,000 to 20,000. But what we've been seeing is these wild jumps in between thousands of points, because as you know, it's down from Dow 29,000. But long story short, as you know, I've invested in Ford Motor Company. And as you'll notice, I also just added Fiat Chrysler, because Fiat Chrysler, I bought in the $6 range, and already we're up to $7.16. Now, why is this? Well, first of all, I'll just tell a quick story. Rewind back to 2008 when Bush's economy collapsed and Obama was running for office against McCain and Palin, right? Now, it was already understood, regardless of all that bullshit these Republicans talk and all that rhetoric nonsense, because you notice you don't hear them talking no more. When Trump is handing out welfare checks, all of a sudden everybody goes quiet. Nobody says nothing. Oh, where's the socialism? Obama's selling out our future and all that bullshit. Meanwhile, when Trump's handing out welfare checks, all of a sudden everybody's lined up. Oh, where's my $1,000 check? Oh, I need $500 per kid. And if he had said, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to give you $5,000 checks. Y'all would have still been lined up for him. All these Fox News motherfuckers aren't saying shit. All of a sudden, everybody's quiet. Why is everybody quiet? You weren't quiet before, but now you quiet. Okay, so anyway, I just had to put that out because I just want to make sure everybody understands the hypocrisy of this democracy, okay? I just want everybody to understand that. So anyway, I bought Ford, got 1,000 shares of Ford, man. FCA, somebody actually made me really think about Fiat Chrysler, because originally I wasn't going to buy them, but when I realized Fiat Chrysler, if you take a look, well, first of all, how much more stock could I buy? I've bought 7 cars from these people. But anyway, Fiat Chrysler in just 1 week, and I noticed a lot of those gains actually happened today because, as you can see, there was some huge pitfalls here. But Fiat Chrysler, if you look at its performance over the last 3 months before coronavirus turned this market to shit, it was as high as $15, which means, in my opinion, that's probably, for right now, its normal operating area. But now you go back a year, it was high as 17. You go back 2 years, 25. And if you go back 5 years, 25. So let's say Fiat Chrysler let's say it can go up as high as $20. Well, I just bought in at $6 and something cents, right? So right now we're up to $7.18. So now, in addition to me owning their cars, I actually own their stock now. So now I can talk about how I own 1,000 shares of Fiat Chrysler. It feels good to own some Fiat Chrysler. So I bought Fiat. I bought Ford. Let's see. Anybody else I prioritized? As you know, I already had Tesla. I've been holding on to Tesla. I have an auto sell on my shares for Tesla that will hit at exactly 1,000. I like that number, 1,000. Tesla, as you know, 3 months ago, it was as high as $929. It was on a meteor. Tesla was rising so fast that nobody understood what was going on. Tesla was rising like Bitcoin. Model 3 is a big hit because everybody wants an electric car, but they can't afford the Model S because it costs twice as much as a Model 3 for the most part. The Model X is too expensive, but guess what? The Model 3 has hit the streets. It's a big hit. Model Y, I was just watching Doug DeMuro's video. As soon as I watched that video, I was like, oh shit, this thing's going to sell. Not because its interior is all that great, because to tell you the truth, I think Tesla's interiors are shit. And even though they got some of their parts from Mercedes parts bins, I really think they ought to get some better seats. I should get no less than heated, cooled seats in every damn one of those cars. And there's no reason why I should have to wait for them to figure this out. It's like heated seats are nice, but I want heated and ventilated and cooled seats in every car I buy. Now, for you people out there who are willing to accept less, well, you keep accepting less. But when I'm rolling with cooled seats under my booty, heated seats under my booty, heated steering wheel, panoramic sunroof, navigation system. I've got it all. And I got that big ass Hemi in these cars. So my thing is, it's like I'm not accepting nothing less than heated and cooled seats. I won't do it. But if you don't mind, and you don't mind if your booty gets warm, then that's on you. I don't care. That's on you. My booty's going to be cooled. When I push that button, I want to hear fans spinning under that booty. Okay, so Tesla is going back. So I'm trying not to pay no attention to it. I'm trying not to jinx myself. One day I'm going to wake up, Tesla will hit 1,000. My auto sell on my TD Ameritrade is going to auto sell all that shit simultaneously. and I will see over $50,000, of which I have no idea how much the government's going to take from me the next time we do a tax. What is it called? Next time we got to pay taxes. Okay. Apple on its way back up. Apple was high. It was $329. Got its ass kicked. It's down $100. So it's coming back. It's coming. You already know it's Apple. Apple's got a new MacBook. Shit looks like a laptop. You know they coming back. You know Apple. All you Apple haters who like Samsung, you buy Samsung products. Well, guess what? Apple's coming back, and everybody can't wait for Apple to come back. In fact, this year, if they release the 1 terabyte hard drive for these smartphones, that's when I'm going to update my phone, because there was no point in me updating from a 512 to another 512. I want 1 terabyte. I don't care if it costs $2,000. I want it. Bottom line. So Microsoft right now is the $1 trillion company that's still left, because they had a higher market cap, I believe, than Apple, and Apple obviously got its ass kicked by coronavirus. But you know Apple's coming back. I mean, I bought in during that stock split, $90-something a share. I had my friends buying $90-something a share. So we're coming back. I'm not worried about it. Microsoft, for those of you who don't own Microsoft, didn't get in, let's see where it was, because Microsoft's been high for a while. But if you don't have any Microsoft's worth buying into. But here's the thing. There's a reason why I let off with that video of me on the airplane. It's because now I was talking to family members and trying to convince them. And I mean, I always tell people, listen, if you listen, there's a risk that you're taking. But considering you've got your tax return money coming in, you know, you can spend some of that. And since some of y'all like to go to these stupid casinos, I don't go to casinos. I don't gamble in the casino. This is how I gamble. And it pays off way better than a casino. It's also a lot safer, less risky. And you think about it, right now, people can't go to a casino because of the coronavirus. So, hey, if you're sitting at home, you feel like gambling, open yourself up a stock portfolio. Why not? But what I wanted to talk about was the airlines. The airlines have had their asses kicked and are going to continue to have their asses kicked by coronavirus, right? So let's talk about Delta. One of my family members bought into Delta Airlines. Now, right now, Delta is 28, but it's down to 27. But they got it when it was 15, and now they're up at least $10 or something like that. Delta, as an airline, is going to have its ass kicked for a while, but it's coming back. So Delta, I will consider. So I'm going to add Delta to my watch list. I'm going to consider buying some airlines. And the reason why, the beautiful thing about socialism, that, you know, Trump giving out welfare checks, the beautiful thing is, you know, the government has no choice but to do it because they can't risk watching the entire country fail. So it's coming. As soon as the Democrats try to force through some student loan forgiveness, you know that the bailouts are coming. And because you know they're coming, it's just like when I bought Ford. It was like less than $1.80, and then it rose up to what was it? $18 or something like that. Ford just shot up, but it took a little while for them to get retooled and all that. You know the bailouts are coming. So who else do we want to look out for? Airbus. The plane that I was flying business class on, that I love. There's only 2 planes I want to fly business class on. The next video that I make when I go on vacation, you'll probably see me on that plane. The A380-800 and the A350-900. Those planes are like hotels in the sky. Airbus right now. Now this is my gift to you. What I'm telling you is Airbus right now, they're getting their asses whipped, getting them beat up. Now Airbus makes planes. They make my favorite jets. I'm adding that to my watch list because I'm thinking about getting Airbus. But here's the thing. Airbus is not an American airplane maker. Airbus is a European. I believe it's French. And they make my favorite jets. But right now, they're at, $56.19? So I'm thinking about getting some shares from them because just a year ago, these dudes were at $141. Now, I know they lost a lot of money because of the A380, because it's a very expensive plane and everything. The thing about it is now they're focused on making twin jets instead of quad jets, and I believe that they can be riding high again. Now, what I wanted to talk about was Boeing. Boeing Company. Boeing is $121 right now, $121.97. However, Boeing a year ago was at $402. So here's the thing. Because of that 737 MAX plane that they had out there that was literally crashing itself into the ground because it was like, you know what? I don't like your approach angle, so I'm going to crash you into the freaking ground. Well, Boeing is coming back. Now, it's going to take a while because, first of all, the average flyer doesn't have any idea what they're flying on. And the average American doesn't pay attention to the news. They're too busy watching sports and shit. So they don't even really know about the 737. Most of them paid no attention to it. Here's the thing, though. When Boeing does get their bailout and Boeing comes back, as you can see, Boeing's already on its way back. Once that happens, Boeing is going to be big again. Now, I already had some Boeing, and I was considering whether or not to buy more Boeing, but I wanted to see what was going to happen once this bailout goes through. But Boeing was as low as 98 something. What was the lowest? Boeing was low. Boeing was 90. For you people who are anticipating a bailout for the airlines, my recommendation is you wait and see what happens with this bailout package. I don't know if you can find out how much, they're planning on giving to each airline. But if you want to buy in and you have the money to spare, Boeing and the Airbus, more likely Airbus because you can get more of it right now. But Boeing and the Airbus, you definitely want to buy into those. Now, definitely you're going to want some Boeing. Then, who else do we got? There's other airlines. American Airlines. Where are they? American Airlines. Let's see how they're doing. American Airlines. Let's see where they've been. 3 months ago, $31. These guys are down to $13.70. Coronavirus has been kicking ass. But guess what? That's an opportunity for you. What you can do is you can go in there and get yourself some American Airlines. And I would say it's going to take a while, but American Airlines has a pretty good history, despite the fact they're sandwiching all these pathetic Americans into these pathetic little seats like sardines while I'm riding business class. But I refuse. I'm never doing economy again. I'm never doing it. I don't care how much YouTube money I have to set aside. I'm never doing economy again. I will use my last credit card. I will not do. Let me tell you something. I made a whole video about the last time I was on business class. It's like, first of all, they got the red carpet there for you. Your bags get taken before everybody else. They're still standing online. And what else? It's so beautiful. I mean, you have a perfect seat. Your seat's got a massage chair, and it's got all that stuff in it, and it's beautiful to ride on. It feels good. And on top of that, you have on-demand drinking of wine and beer and soda. You have on-demand eating. You get off the plane before all the plebeians in the back. You get your bags first. You're walking out of the airport while they're still getting their bags. I am never doing economy ever again. It's never happening. I've flown business with Emirates. I wish I could have videotaped that, but back then I only had a 128 gigabyte iPhone and I didn't have enough space. But the last video I made was, Philippine Airlines, the A350-900. The next video I make will either be Asiana's business class or Korean Airlines business class. It's one of those two, because for the flight that I'm looking at, Emirates doesn't actually go there during the time I'm looking at it. So either one of those I'll take. And I've also been watching the cost of flights. And if you were planning on going anywhere during the summer, a lot of these flights have dropped in price significantly because, they're basically trying not to go bankrupt because of coronavirus. So that's my kick today. My little kick was about buying airlines. So we got American Airlines, Delta. American Airlines and Delta are cheap right now, but they're going up. So if you have a trading account and you have money in your trading account right now, I would recommend American Airlines and Delta for sure, Because the thing about it is, we already know they got their asses kicked, but they going back up. And that's the bottom line. The government can't let these things fail at this point. See, we've reached a point where the bailouts are certain. It's like you don't even have to guess whether or not there's going to be a bailout. It's coming. And I know the Republicans use, oh my God, we need all these bailouts. Why are they bailing out all these companies? What happened to the free market? Well, you know what happened to the free market? What happened to the free market was you put sanctions on countries like Cuba who are outsourcing doctors to other countries. You tried to starve these people in Venezuela. You tried to steal their oil. You tried to steal Bolivia's lithium. You tried to start a coup in these countries. That's what happened to the free market. The free market is dead because of you. So when you see all this, oh, my children's future is being sold out, and they're giving out welfare checks to people who are more takers than makers. What is this? Why don't we need a Republican president who won't give out bailouts and won't hand out welfare checks. That's what we need. Well, the welfare checks are coming, and the president's a Republican right now. So what are you to say now? You remember you people when you put all those sanctions out on all these countries? Part of the reason why nobody understands the reason why Iran had such a high jump in the number of people infected was because Iran is being forced to trade under the table with China. You morons. So what you've done is not only helped the spread, but you've jeopardized America's security because a lot of these very same people who are coming from communist countries travel here, travel to South Korea, travel to Japan, travel to the Philippines. They travel to Italy. They travel to France. They travel everywhere. This is your fault. Your fault. And someday the American people will be smart enough to know how stupid you people really are, and they'll get real leadership. Unfortunately, we don't have one of those countries where they actually drag people out of the Congress by their feet, but I guess I can't hope for so much. So anyway, JetBlue. 3 months ago, JetBlue was riding high at $22. But then they got their asses kicked by coronavirus. They're down to 10. Oh my. They're not even at 10. They're 8.89. I'm definitely going to tell my family members about that one because they might want to get some JetBlue. But the bailout is coming. I'm going to add that to the watch list. Yeah, absolutely. JetBlue. So those are my next three picks. JetBlue, American Airlines, and Delta. JetBlue because it's so cheap. And let's see, it says JetBlue cuts schedule to just essential flights as coronavirus spreads. Well, listen, this is not going to last forever. And if you live long enough to survive it, you just might make some money. Or you go and take your money and buy those airline stocks. What I want you to do is actually just watch them. Now, this news is relatively new. U.S. Airlines prepare for shutdown of all domestic passenger flights. This was put out today at 11:06. We can all agree that the airlines have to be saved. We can all agree that the airlines are going to come back. The problem is you can't act right now because of the uncertainty. See, the reason why I didn't have a problem buying the auto stocks was because I knew that the auto industries, after Trump claimed that he was going to use the Domestic Production Act to force them to create like air masks and all that stuff, which we should have been doing here in the first place. I knew that they were going to go up because the thing about it is they don't just make cars. They can make other things. It's just like Tesla. Tesla doesn't just make cars. Tesla makes batteries. Tesla makes solar panels for countries that don't have wiring. You know, it's like you have to look at these companies that have diversified portfolios. Now, here's the problem, though. Now, granted, we know that the airlines are going back up, but you got to watch out. This is why we call it market watch. You got to watch the market. U.S. airlines are preparing for a complete shutdown of all passenger flights across the country. While the government has shied away from pushing a domestic travel ban, airlines could make it happen voluntarily if it's not implemented officially. The news comes from Wall Street Journal report that cites anonymous industry and federal officials. It states that government agencies are considering ordering a shutdown as cancellations increase due to the coronavirus. According to flight stats, there have been almost 9,000 domestic flights canceled today, including 1,666. Oh, don't you just love the 666 from freaking Delta? Why would you? 1,666. That's the number of the beast. 1,302 from American and 1,097 from Southwest. With around 80 million U.S. citizens under lockdown. Hey, what happened to the other 300 million? Where are they? So anyway, 80 million U.S. citizens under lockdown. Airline executives, pilot union leaders, and federal transportation officials expect more cancellations and schedule reductions in the coming weeks. So remember when I said, okay, we know that the bailouts are coming. The problem is this could continue to bleed up until they are bailed out. But now, even without the government getting involved, these airlines are starting to cancel flights because there's not enough people. See, the problem is just because there's one or two people, you can't have them in the airplane alone and you're using all that jet fuel to fly these people where they want to go. Can't do that. See, I've also heard some people suggest that now is a really good time for the government to be buying oil for the strategic oil reserve. And also it's a good time for these companies to be stocking up on, things they need like fuel. But see, the issue is that they spent all their money doing these buybacks in order to boost their stock. So the problem is now that there's a rainy day, they ain't got no money left. Great idea, guys. Great idea. But I've already said my piece. I plan on buying airline stock, and it looks like you guys are screwed, and you're about to bleed from the ears and the nose and whatever. And it's going to get really bad really soon. So my thing is, if you're getting your tax returns back, take that money, set it aside, get it ready. Because, as Mr. T would say, it's like we're in for some pain.